they grab all their equipment and run over here. So these ones are actually unprotected, they're not wearing any armour. They've got their pillars, shields and swords, but they've got no armour. So they've got a bit of a vulnerability in a long melee compared to these guys. And you've got some Numidian light horse here. In Meg, these are really quite potent. They're skill shooters, so quite often they'll get a green dice when shooting. And we've got some archers on the wing. At the back, you've got the two newly raised legions who are poor. So you don't want to rely on them too early in the game.
Who's the noisy one?
How do I turn the sound off? How do I turn my mic off?
Click on the screen and then you should see a mic icon, and you just click that on and off.
No.
Just push the screen and you should get. That's it. If we got the camera, you should be able to see the mic thing as well.
Where does that go?
It's alright, while you're figuring that out, for the benefit of the goals, I'll run through the goals, shall I, as well? Just to keep it moving. So your Gallics generals are the same. You've got a talented, a competent and a competent, which is 4 dis, 3 dis, 3 dis for the colours. On the right flank over here, you've got 3 tugs of warband. The middle one with the general is superior. They're bodyguard nobles. You've got 2 average cavalry that are exactly the same as these guys over here. They're all short spear, experienced javelin. All the cavalry are capable of evading if they want to in this period. In the middle you've got a similar thing. You've got a noble and a warrior and just some slingers here. And then you've got a chunky force on this side. These are the actual solduri for the whole army. These are fanatics, so these ones don't break. These ones you have to kill all the bases, so they're a bit nasty. And these are superior cavalry, so these are the best cavalry on the board. That's your setup, and the Gauls get the first to be active first. So they get the bag of love or the bag of doom, as people christened it in the UK, with the disc on their side to remind us that they're active at the moment. And if you've got your sound working, probably the best thing to do each time is I'll turn some colours over for the side that's moving and lay them out, and then you guys have a bit of a discussion on what you want to do, play it as a team, and decide how you want to move, and I'll do all the moves for you. So on this side, Wayne and Bob, you've got a yellow, a green and a black. You've got a yellow, a green and a green there. And you've got a red, a yellow, a green and a white there. So pretty good actually. You're not terribly starved of discs at the moment. So what do you fancy doing?
So that's Bob and Wayne.
Yeah, Bob and Wayne, over to you.
Yep.
So the game alternates in action, so it's interactive. So you're going to do an action, and then they're going to do an action. It's going to play out this way, and that's one of the beauties of the game. It's very engaging, and it leads to a lot of really interesting sort of nearly simultaneous movement going on. And I'm happy to help with suggestions in the early days to get you going, if you want me to.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to see everything.
Well, I can talk you through any area of the battlefield. I can actually go over the battlefield if I take the phone out. Every time I put it back, I'll have to be very careful to put it back the same place. So if I go down the line a bit and give you a sort of better view of your troops, that's your right wing, and your right wing there has got 2 average cavalry, which are just as good as the Roman cavalry in the distance. This is a classic warband block. You've got a general, some superior warband in front of them, and 2 average either side. And you want these guys to do the damage and cause shatters. You've got a much smaller tribe in the middle with just 2 warband and some slingers, so some shooters. And then you've got a really dangerous one on this side, which has got a warband setup. These are actually fanatic solduri. So these guys will die to a man, they'll never right. And you've got the best of the cavalry. These are superior cavalry, and these are over this side some javelin men. And I'll do the same for the Romans so that you see what you're facing in the same way. So that's what's facing the left flank. So we've got 2 legions, I think they're the 7th and the 8th, and some Numidian light horse and some archers. The Numidian light horse are very dangerous in this, much more than they have been in other rules. They really are as good as they were classically. They're skilled shooters, so they often upgrade to green dice when shooting. These Romans are average, but they're the ones that haven't managed to put their armour on. So if they get in a long fight, they're unprotected. In the centre, we've got 2 lines. We've got a superior legion and an average legion and a competent general. And behind that, we've got 2 fully equipped poor legions at the back next to the camp. This is the camp that, as I said, is poor and vulnerable. And then Caesar's over here with the very best infantry. He's got the 10th legion there who are exceptional. They really are hard as nails in this. And a superior one next to it. And 2 Gallic originated Roman cavalry on the hill. Everybody seen that enough? Yep, I'll put you back on the big view. Hopefully I'll get it in about the right place. I think it was about there. How's that?
So, seems to me we want to advance on our left flank.
Happy with that?
Your head's missing, Wayne.
Wayne, happy with an advance on the left flank?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I'm having a lot of sound over top of the commentary. I think there's microphones on that are picking up background noise.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
And then I went to turn my own microphone on, which is why I've kind of disappeared.
Don't worry. So let me give you the 2 choices that you have here, and if you've got those sheets, there's 2 ways you could advance with these discs. Okay, you could actually do a double advance because you could take a yellow and upgrade to red. Upgrading to red will allow you to do an M14 double move, and that allows 2 greens, which for these guys can only be dead ahead because they're tribal. That will get that whole block in due course there because we'll make it a block move. So you would end up right in their faces there, and that would use that to make a double move with the upgrade and a green to make a block move, which will allow all 3 to move together. That's your option 1. Option 2 is to actually use a black disc to do the first move and upgrade it to white, which will get you a single move with these in the middle, and use the green to upgrade it to a block, so they'll all be part way across the river at that point, but it leaves you a yellow left to do something with the cavalry afterwards. So you've got 2 choices there. You can advance the river get totally across, but leave the cavalry behind for now, or you could go partly across and advance with the cavalry as well.
Well, take the double move, get across the river, I think too.
Alrighty. So we're gonna get these guys directly across. There we go. The flying Nervii. And we're done, and those can go in the discard pile over there, and he's left with a black, which is now no use to do anything else with. Bit of command friction there. Let's have a look what the Romans have got. So, Duncan and Phil over here, you've got...
The Romans have got beer, so we're quite happy.
Oh, well, that's okay then. It should be wine, of course. The beer should be on this side, the wine should be on this side. White, green over here. Which is not desperate because Romans could do a lot of stuff with weak discs. Green, black in the centre, and Caesar's got himself white, green, red. So plenty of options there. So now it's your turn to make a decision on an action. You'll see how fast it is as well in terms of play. Phil?
Any ideas what you want to do, Duncan? Duncan, I'm not sure your mic's on.
Duncan, can you hear us?
No, I've got no sound from Duncan.
Okay, well, he'd probably be trying to fix that while we're talking. Phil, do you want to make a decision then, for now?
Okay. So, I think, so the Numidian light horse, they're skirmishing light horse, right?
They are. They're skirmishing like us, so they can skirmish away easily, and they would roll greens against these guys. so they're quite dangerous.
So can we move the just into shooting range of the advancing Gauls?
So if I did something like this, said let's do a white move with skirmishers and a green to make a block move of 2 skirmishers, and bring these forward inside 2 for javelin range, which will automatically bring these guys, as long as they've got the distance, which they have easily, bring those into 3 to be shooting range. How does that look? Happy with that? Looks sensible, I have to say.
Good.
Back over to the Gauls. You got plenty of this. You can easily double move those, and you can easily double move those and move the cavalry. So you can hurtle all of the Nervii forward at full pace if you want to. Bob, Wayne.
We're going to get beaten up.
I love the pessimism. Where would you prefer to be beaten up first, then?
I think if we could on the right.
Over here? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
2 units of cavalry there. Is that correct?
2 units of cavalry there. Yeah, you can easily move both of those forward. You could even double move both of those forward if you want to.
Get them across the river.
Well, I could do it a yellow for a double, and I could head. Do you want me to head towards those cavalry and avoid those?
Yeah.
Right. So you a double.
That would be good.
So a double move, you're allowed to go to 4. You can't go closer than 4 of heavies. You can go as close as you like to skirmishers. So if these were skirmishers, you could keep going and end up there. So we're going to move them together. We'll do that. 5, and we'll put them at 4. And that will be a yellow for a double move, green to make a block move. Importantly, a general doesn't have to be with them to do a block move. It just makes it easier because he gets his upgrade. So that will work perfectly there. So the cavalry has stormed across the river. Back to Rome. Duncan, have you got your mic working yet? Okay, he's probably still struggling with it. Phil, do you want to make another decision for now?
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if it's worth Duncan trying to. I don't know if he can exit the call and come back in to reset the mic, or I don't know how that will work actually.
Can you exit him and
all right. So.
Can you exit him and re-invite him after you've done this move?
Let me see if I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if I can do that. Duncan, just if you could exit the call, if you could just hang up, and then I'll try to re-invite you again. That might fix your. I don't even know if you can hear us. Can you hear us? Can you hear? You can hear. All right. So maybe if you exit the call and then we come back in, it might reset the microphone. Because I think what it is, you've tried to plug headphones, and that's changed your settings. And then when you plug them back out again or unplug them,
that's probably it.
It's back in and out. How's that? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Hey, Dunk. Good to have you back. Alrighty, so over to you, Duncan. What do you fancy doing next? You saw the previous moves and how they happened, so choices.
I can barely see the far right.
The far right over here I could talk you through. You're pretty solid over here. I think you don't want to do anything else. You're sitting there with the legions with unprotected. You're just going to try and skirmish with Numidians and archers to try and take a few of these down before they get to you. So I think you can ignore that for now. Philip sorted that last time.
Except I thought we could run away from them as well. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so these will evade away, so that's fine. And we can't go backwards because you haven't got a good enough disc. Here you've plenty of flex, and here you've plenty of flex.
Well, so I'm very comfortable with the general's first decisions. That's really cool. Can we press on our left?
Yeah.
What do we think? We just have to be careful of our flank. We've got our cavalry is uphill at the moment, right?
Yeah, they are.
So we've got a bit of an advantage there, but we do actually want to get those legions stuck in. So
yeah, can we not move the legions to their left and push on his?
So you could put yourself something like that probably. Be about right, and start and actually get in the way of some of these.
Because we need to push these guys on our left fast, so we don't get caught dying on the left.
yeah, we want to kill them. We want to kill them on our left before they kill us on our right.
Happy with that?
And scoot back if we can.
Okay, so that's a
Which
green.
seems vaguely historical.
That's a green for a wheel with drill, which is easy, and white upgraded to green because Caesar's part of the move. So you've still managed to keep a red and a white left there as well, even after doing that. There we go.
Okay, so the general's upgraded the white to a green.
Exactly.
Disc.
So if a general is involved in a move, so there's only 2 twists on the colour system. Twist number 1 is if a general's part of a move, he can upgrade one colour each phase. And the second thing is the generals can create these block moves, and a mediocre can create a block of 2. So that's pretty worthless actually if you think about it, because you could do the same thing with 2 discs anyway. But as you get to competent, talented and legendary, it becomes very efficient, because you could actually move, as a maximum, you could move 5 tugs, 5 heavy units, and 5 skirmishers with 2 discs if you're a legendary general. So it's a lot about being colour efficient as you play the game. Very good. So that's the Romans done. I'll turn that over and go back to the Gauls. Chaps, these or these.
Give it to you later.
Shall we advance the centre a little bit to support our flank?
The advantage of doing the centre first is you could probably still double move the centre, whereas here you can't, because you can't go closer than that with a double, but here you can. So I would recommend the centre, because the centre will get you further down the table quickly.
Sounds good, Bob. I think we want to just get up in the face, keep our line as intact and as far forward as we can. Put the centre up if it's going to go further.
Fine. So the same system. That upgraded because the general is going to make it a red. That allows a double move with tribals. Green converts it to a block, which means they can all go. So they can all go potentially up to 6, but it'll be a little bit too far. So they have to stop about there. But they've stormed across the river and in a useful place already. There we go. Job done. Back to Rome. So you've got a disc left to use on the cavalry if you wanted to, and you've got enough discs to do a block move of the 2 legions here if you so desire.
How long will the camp last if it gets hit?
Not long.
Not long. 2 rounds of combat, 3 at most, I would think.
Well, I still think we have to win on our left because that's the only option we have, right?
Yeah. So we've got next to the camp on the right side, we have some troops there, right? What have we got there again?
These are poor
There's a
legionaries.
reserve of legion, isn't it?
These are poor legions. These are the 2 newly raised legions at the battle, so they're not as good as the rest. But they'll still do a half decent job of stopping things. So they're decent flank camp protectors if you can get them in the right place.
So I think we should bring those guys forward.
Yeah, to protect the camp.
Yeah. Because,
Okay, well,
in the camp. That's if he hits the camp and destroys the camp, that's a morale test, a KAB test on every unit.
everyone, yeah. So the whole army will start to panic if the camp goes down.
If we can get them to cover the camp and support the flank of the right, but not as far forward as to get them engaged early, if there's a nice combination that allows that, that would be useful, don't you think?
Okay, so
I think we need. Yeah.
I'm going to recommend that what we do then is we do an advance with a shift, which is something that drill can do very easily. So they can do it with a green. They have to go maximum move, but they can shift sideways in the process. So
That sounds good.
So they would do that and actually move to the side. So they've done a sort of incline move. How does that look?
How far do we move across when we do that?
One base width, so you'll get across part of the camp by doing that. Your other option,
Right.
if I was to do
That
it,
sounds
Philip,
good.
the other option, if you prefer it, would be to do a big wheel that way, and then use your further move to walk across its front. So you could
I
also,
think the incline is the shift is better. I think.
you could do that as your other option. Yeah.
Even Wayne's clapping at that, so he thinks it's better.
Oh, well, there we go. So you end up there. Job done.
No,
Easy.
I've got mosquitoes.
Is that what it is? Okay. Back to the goals. We've only got these left, so this is relatively easy. So I may as well. Well, it's
Sorry, Duncan, we're not an O-tacky.
this one here. You can save your red and just do a single advance here and keep hold of the red for later. And reds are quite handy to keep for a bit, and that will still get you all here for now and get you most
I
of the
don't
red.
really want to go across there.
This
I
is
don't want to go across there.
you don't want to go across it.
No.
Okay, so you prefer to stay back.
The 10th Legion is going to kick our ass. So.
Alrighty, fair enough. It's not a bad decision at all. So these are going to stay back and
Sacrificial lamb, I like it.
hold the river line. Okay, so in that case, they can keep some troops back here. I suppose your only choice then is do you leave them all back, or do you press a single tug forward? You could potentially press one forward to be irritation like that and leave these two behind.
Can we just push it forward to the river? Oh, there's
Sounds like a victim to me.
Sounds like a victim. So yeah, we can
Yeah, I was
just
just thinking one's going to be a victim.
let's stick them on the river line then. That'll allow you to save your red as well.
Yeah.
Back to the
Just
Romans.
a note to you, Bob. Don't forget, killing the 10th Legion has a lot more glory in it than sitting around fluffing on the river's edge.
Talk about dangling a carrot.
And the 10th invites you to try.
Yeah.
He's that famous famous Gallic leader playing poo sticks.
Yeah.
In the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, we want to kill the 10th last.
Yes, that's probably true. If at all.
But and again, in his words, I lied.
I like it. Very good. Alrighty, so back to the Romans, and we've got the turn finished. The only question you've got left is if you want to do anything with the cavalry. If you're happy on the hill, you can save your remaining 2 discs.
We could possibly push to the left a little bit. So I think we've got 2 choices, right? We can push to the left and help hold back their cavalry, or we could go all the way to the right to help the centre hold, because they can skirmish, right? So if we've got enough points, we can get the legions into their infantry and skirmish a little bit in the middle to help hold up in the middle.
So you're thinking, Duncan, of sending them over here.
We're going to leave the flank of the 10th very exposed. That is cavalry's going to swing onto our flank, isn't it? We have nothing else to stop them.
So then let's push them more to the left to stop them getting around a bit more.
Are we within charge range actually of his cavalry with our cav?
You are within charge ring with your cav, and you're within charge reach with the 10th Legion as well at the moment.
We probably don't need to move anywhere just yet then. We can
So
charge.
we just want to put the 10th in.
Yeah,
Well,
but the
these-
10th have already moved.
These
So
also.
they can't move
Yeah,
again.
so we just hold them.
Okay,
So we can just hold. We can.
Just make sure everybody's flank is okay.
done.
We could discard a white.
So
discard a white.
let's do the end of turn. You can all get rid of the bad discs, and you each save a red. So you each save something for the future. So those of you who haven't played at all before, you can probably see how pacey it is. One of the things I've done designing Meg, compared to previous games I've played, is to say all the preamble that goes on in the games, where you spend 2 hours of an old DBM game manoeuvring, and then the fight at the end and it never finishes. I've compressed the early bit. The pace of the game is such that you'll get the preamble over in a turn or two. As you'll see here, we'll be in turn 2, and this is usually the case. Turn 2 we'll have some shooting. Turn 2 we may even have some combat in this one, but usually in a game it'll be turn 3 you'll have some combat. Let me deal you some discs. So over to Rome on this side has got 2 yellows and a white. That's pretty solid. The centre guy who I just moved has got a yellow, white, and a black. He's actually with those.
Yeah, not great.
Not as good there.
it couldn't be much worse.
And let's go.
Isn't that a yellow?
That's a yellow. No, you're okay. You got a yellow. I mean, the Romans don't. The nice thing is the Romans don't need great discs. So, and Caesar's got 2 greens and a white to add to the red, which will do enough. The talented over here, he's doing well. He's got 2 greens, a yellow, and a red. So that's a good set for the talented Gallic army commander. We've got a red, a black, and a white there. That's a little more tricky, but as long as you only want to go dead ahead, it will be fine. And you've got 2 yellows and a black on this side. And the bag now goes over to Rome. So Rome are active. So Rome get the first decisions in the alternating sequences. So we then go to the charge phase. So there's a very specific sequence to follow, which really helps the game flow if you follow it explicitly.
Just to jump in, could we gift a card?
You can, yeah, good spot. You can gift with this guy.
I'm wondering if it might be worth gifting a green from Caesar to the middle command.
You could do that. So that's in the card phase. Because he's a professional army commander, you could hand one of those off to there. Yeah, that will help you get the pause in the right place. A good idea.
Yeah.
Charge phase. So Romans to declare a first charge if they want to. So if you want to, you could throw the 10th Legion at these guys. Or you could throw the cavalry at these guys. Or these guys. In a charge, if you haven't been before, you could...
we certainly want to throw the 10th.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so you have to pay for that one, and that has to be a green. So you pay a green to...
We've got the general with them, right? Caesar's with them?
He is, but you can't upgrade it if you're only charging the 10th. No, because he's not...
The white card to the green.
Only if he charges both, because he's not actually physically with the 10th. So once you actually... If he was there, then he could go with just them. So
I see.
you could use the upgrade to charge both, so you could use that and charge both and keep them together.
Just get the 10th on first, don't we? Or
just the one?
I think you're better doing just the one, because you still have the white, and with his upgrade he can then manoeuvre the 6th, I think it is, however he likes. So, okay, that's a green to pay for that charge. It would be for the Gallic guys to decide if they want to do any charges. So you can wheel up to 90, so the Gallic cavalry could wheel there, and they could charge there, or they could both try charging that way if they wanted, which then plays out in the order of the sequence. I don't think anybody else is in range, and the only other one you could do if you want to try and get rid of the Numidians is you could charge the Numidians there, and that would be free because they're devastating charges with enemy dead ahead, so that wouldn't cost you any discs to do.
So hang on, what would we be charging the Numidians with?
You'd be charging the Numidians with Warband, and the only advantage is that you drive them away. Just to note, skirmishes in this game don't hold back heavies, so even if you don't charge them, you don't need to do that. You'll push them back anyway when you move. They won't stop you moving. I've never been a fan of these 2 men in a loincloth stopping a phalanx.
So we're faced with skirmishes.
We're faced with 2 lots of skirmishes here. These guys are going to be shot at with a green and a white dice, whatever. So there's a bit of pain here. This could be a bit nasty on this flank.
Let's just keep formation when. It takes us a disc to charge.
I think keeping formation is a good idea. Yeah.
Are they impetuous?
Just to correct that, you can charge for free with these devastating charges. The impetuous types in the game, charging lancers, devastating chargers can do free charges. So they wouldn't have to pay to charge them. It would be a free disc if you want to do it. But you probably are better holding formation and bringing the cavalry across. So I would hold formation.
I'm with you, Bob, about keeping formation as long as we can.
Yeah. Okay.
I just don't want to be wasting effort trying to drive off skirmishes that really are going to have no effect anyway.
Yeah. Well, they might have an effect. They're quite dangerous. So.
Yeah. Do that.
Yeah. So over here, do you want to charge the cavalry back at the 10th? Do you want to charge these cavalry? Is your first decision. If you choose not to charge, you do have an evade option with these. You can run away and skirmish. This is rough terrain. It'll slow you down a little bit, but you probably will get away from the 10th if you do that.
I actually can't see that part of the table in the picture.
Oh, can you not?
I'd like him to run away.
Let me do again what I did before and pull that out. I'll give you a better view of it. So what you've got here, guys, is you've got two of your cavalry here. The options you've got is you could charge the cavalry. That one could wheel and charge the 10th back. And the other option is, if you don't bother charging, you do with these have the option, because they are missile armed, you do have the option to actually evade backwards to get away.
Let's run away, Ray.
I'll let you take that decision.
Yeah.
May this sky fall upon your heads.
Look at that. The 10th Legion's scaring everybody to death. Okay. So you would have a choice here to throw some javelins at these guys, but you're unlikely to do anything. So you're probably better not doing, because it slows you down. You're probably better just doing a straight runaway. A runaway will give you the maximum move, but as you're facing away from the enemy. So I'm going to roll the dice for these. It gives you a variable move distance. I got a 4, which is normal. So I just need to check for the cavalry. So through rough going, they can run away 3, because the river is rough going. Crossable but rough going. They get to there. The 10th Legion do their charge and try and chase them. Get themselves about there. And that's it. That's the charge phase done.
Sorry, Simon, can I ask a question about the order of declaring charges? When we declare charges, do we declare them alternatively? Like
everything, yeah. Treat everything in the game.
Or do we declare all of ours?
No, you declare alternately. So again, everything goes through alternately. So and again, you pass when you're ready and you haven't got any more to do. And that way you get the interactivity and the reaction running the whole time. So in every bit of the game, you very quickly get used to just, I'll do that one, okay, I'll do that one, I'll do that one, I'll do that one, and it works out quite neatly. There are times playing when it really doesn't matter on some armies, so you can just say, shall I just declare all my charges because you're not doing any, are you? Or you can say, I'm just going to declare this one, you do what you like. But the principle is to alternate, and it does matter.
Sorry, Wayne, can you just switch off your mic while you're moving around?
Yeah.
Sorry, Simon, I couldn't hear that.
That's okay. I'll repeat it. So you do alternate. At every stage in the game, you alternate whenever it matters. But you'll find in quite a lot of game situations you play, it doesn't matter, and you can simply say, well, I know I'm going to all charge all those, and what are you going to charge those to? And you can just put them all down. So what you need to do is just fall back on the ordering when it matters. So the principle is always ordered, but you can bypass it and save time sometimes. Same with shooting. Okay, that's the charge phase done. Okay, and we're into the shooting phase. So the only things that can shoot that are in range are these and these. The shooting system works with these dice, and the dice that you use for shooting as the base dice is a white. So the starting position is these two will both have a white dice. And then there is a system of just upgrading and downgrading the colour depending on what they're shooting. So if these were fully armoured knights, they would go down to black. These are average protector, there's nothing fancy about those, there's nothing fancy about these, but these are skilled shooters, so they go up to a green. And this is why these skirmishes are a bit nasty, because there's a slim chance, hopefully what happened, of getting that result, and that result will break these guys. Okay, so, but it's only 1 in 6 times 1 in 3. 1 in 18. I'll roll them and we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll happen. Nearly. So a skull is a kill the base, so the Numidians have trimmed the base off the end ones here with a load of javelin fire. You'll find the game is quite bloody as well. You'll get used to it. It's quite fun. You never get out of a game of this unscathed, which is part of the fun actually. So that's the shooting phase over. So you've lost the base there. So you've got a weak.
Just took a base.
Yeah, you've got a weak point there. They took a base off. Yeah, so they got to bring it close to the camera if you can see it. If I get the angles right, they got that. Okay. So that takes.
That was Wayne saying, we'll just ignore those skirmishers that won't do anything.
I told you Numidians are dangerous. They're the best mercenaries of the era. So they should be a lot better than they were in a lot of previous rules, in my view. And this system makes them come alive really, because they get the skilled shooters. So we're now into the movement phase. Romans get first option to move. Do you need a close-up, guys, of things?
Yeah, could you give us a quick flyover?
Yeah, I can do that. So we've got on this side, after you've charged, looks like that, and you've still got 2 discs left. So you can do your white disc will allow you to do a wheel with those, and your red will allow you to do almost anything with those. So you've plenty of flex there. If we go over here, you've started getting the poor legionaries in front of the camp, and you're still well out of march distances, so potentially you can do something clever to turn them and walk them this way and turn them back. There might be time to do that. Over here, at the moment, everybody is a bit out of charge range. Yeah, everybody's just a bit out of charge range. They're in 4 and not 5. So, does that help?
Yep.
And I'll just run the goals,
I think...
down the line the goals as well.
Okay.
So the goals are just one more move and they'll be in charge range. And the goal's probably most important thing for you guys is to get these cavalry and skirmishers over there in support now to try and get rid of those skirmishers. I'll pop it back. I'll pop it back and yell if you need a bit more of an angled view. Rome.
Yeah, I was wondering whether I saw a gap in our line there, Bob.
There's a gap in both of our lines. We don't know.
The picture is very grainy at my end.
Mine too. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So should we try to get that those 4 legions lined up with our other legion in front of the camp?
Could do that.
Duncan, yeah, you want to try? Should we do that so we can put the? So we can do. Can we do another? What would you call it? A shift move, was it?
You could do an advance and shift again. It would put them slightly ahead of the line. It would put them there. If you did that.
Right, because it's going to be a full.
Yeah.
It's got to be a full move. Yeah. Okay, that works.
Okay, job done. So that's going to be. You're going to have to use the 2 expensive ones to do that, but you formed a line with some poor legionaries. Fair enough. So the goals.
So what discs do we have on the far side?
Far side, you've got 2 yellows and a black. So the black, not any use really, but your yellows will certainly get these well across the river.
Go on over there, Muscle Girl.
So we can move the cavalry up and pull the skirmishers for free with 1 disc?
You can, yes. So 1 disc, that's another important bit of the rules. You can take the cavalry through, and they can do they could actually do a double move because it's only skirmishers that are near. They can't get nearer than 4 to the heavies, but that gets them almost level with your troops. So you could do a yellow for a double with a formed, and they do a 3 a go because they're going through rough terrain initially, and they'll end up there in fact, and they can tow those along with them. But we nickname a tug-a-sug move, which was an amusing title I gave without thinking about it. But you drag skirmishers along with you, so that's like a keep up with us. So that's only used a single yellow to do that. That leaves you a handy yellow to save for next turn, and you've now got some decent cavalry up, and these are superior cavalry as well, so good chance of driving them well away. Nice, back to Rome.
Duncan, anything you want to do?
Well, my link's just gone really bad. I'm trying to sort out the bandwidth. We need to, in general, we just want to kill them fast push them back fast on the left so we can head across back to the right, right?
Yeah, so we want to push the 10th forward, the 9th and the 10th. Or
Yep.
even,
Okay, so they've charged, so you could use the white one to bring these forward and reform them into a block together.
Do you want to be in a block, or do you want to start wheeling that one towards the Gallic infantry? What do you think?
Whatever works. I can't quite see from my perspective. We want to.
I'll give you
My goal is to use our cavalry to hold them as we troop across to the right.
I'll give you a close up again, guys. How's that? So I think the 2 choices with those probably are to go there and form a block. I'll step back so you can see the cavalry, or you could do a fuller wheel round and go.
Best thing, mightn't it?
Or you could wheel round and go that way and just try and.
Push them over, right?
So this?
Yeah, form the block, and then we'll have one more go pushing them over the river.
Yeah, done. There you go. And that only needs the white to do that. Caesar's present as well. Back to the goals. I'll keep the camera this way for the moves. It's probably easier, and I'll just put it back up there for the big picture. So you've got a whole bunch here that can still advance. They can advance with the whole block with those two, and still save one to spin off the slingers if you want to go somewhere. And you've got this block holding on to the river, where you've got the choice of sticking to the river or moving across it somewhere. And you've got extra moves you can do with these and these. These can move, no, they're in rough going, they can't move very far actually. They move an extra 2 this way to escape if you want to pay for it, and these have got a freedom to do whatever they like, the cavalry on the wing. Shall I stay on the right for you for a minute?
So the
You're
guys
just going to run away.
So I'll talk a few options through. When you've done a runaway move or a skirmish, you're only allowed to do 3 things. You're allowed to turn around, you're allowed to move to and turn around, or you're allowed to move 2 dead ahead. So there's a little bit of adjustment that you're allowed to make in where you end up in the runaway if you're prepared to pay dis to do it. So you could pay to do an extra 2 there to run away and take them across the river here if you want to do a sort of safety move for now.
I think we're still good there, aren't we?
Yeah, I think you're fine.
We can run away next time.
You can run away next time, yeah. These guys you could advance with and try and force a fight with those cavalry if you wanted, or you could swing round to threaten the flank of those and make them do something to counter it, or you could bring some of these across the river, or try to bring some across the river where there's nothing in the way right now.
So we got 3. Can you show us which ones are nobles and fanatics?
Your nobles are always in the middle, so they're the nobles, the superior nobles, because they want to create the shatters if we get into a combat. The fanatics are there on the other side on the left. They're an absolute bugger to stop. They're here.
But what's left of them?
And the middle ones, no, you shot off their everyday family on the side. The fanatics are the ones in the middle. So in PACTO, Duncan, every single one of these represents a unit in the big game. Every single file. So in the big game, these units would probably be 9s of figures, 9s and 6s.
Should we just move up in the middle then?
Seems reasonable. Put yourself in charge range of the paws. That's always got a chance of going well.
Yeah.
Okay, so to do that one, the most efficient way for that one would be a black upgraded to white to go dead ahead, and then the red will turn it into a block move and save yourself a white to do something with the skirmishes in a minute.
Well, press forward is a good deal. We want to kind of close them down and stop them doing their fancy manoeuvring around. Just pressure on at the moment, I think.
Yeah, probably true. The more you pressure them, the less easy it is for them to react.
Without being ridiculously risky, but
Yeah,
we are brave men after all.
indeed. There you go. Back to Rome.
Brave and stupid.
So you've got 1 disc left to do something with the cavalry if you want. You've got 2 discs left there, which would at least allow you to advance both of those. You could do a black upgraded with the general and a white with the other. And you've got 2 yellows over here, so you've got plenty of flex over here to do what you want.
I'm sure there's a lot that we need to do, really is. Should we bring that cavalry off the hill? Can't see keep pressing forward with it.
Yeah, I just want to push back. We can push their cavalry back across the river, then our inferior cavalry can probably hold the river back and allow us to shift the legions more to the right.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect. So
Yep.
let's do a...
Do we need to get one of our good legions in action in the middle early? To help protect the inferiors?
Well, his middle, so there's no rush for us to do that. But we could move that red one forward, or that group forward. So maybe we're a little bit further forward than our.
You can protect them a bit. Yeah.
Protect the weak ones.
You can do that. Let's come back to that in a minute because it's alternating. You've just done your thing. Back to the goals. Or,
Did you just move our cavalry? Did you?
he moved. I moved your cavalry over there. Sorry, is that? Yeah.
No, we didn't see that.
Yeah. No, I've done it. Yeah. Oh, I'm very fast. If you give me something to do, I tend to do it. Sorry. Yeah. There you go. So you're pressuring their cavalry there. Okay, Wayne and Bob, what do you want to do? Probably the crunch question for you is, what do you want to do with these infantry? Do you want to leave them all behind the river, or do you want to push some into this gap that's forming here and see if you can break the Romans up a bit?
We've got a red, so we can turn one there, can't we?
You can, yeah. You could turn one like that, or you can do wheels with them now. So you've got plenty of good discs to do wheels. So you can wheel one off that way, or wheel one that way.
Just don't think we can take one off and go left with it.
I actually can't see clearly the table, Bob, but the idea of pressuring them from an angles, it sounds good. I mean, we're not just a straight line. We want to get in amongst them and pressure them. So wheeling something.
That would be reinforcing the centre, really.
Yeah.
So do you want to?
Go for it.
Do you want to wheel one of these, say, and point it directly at the camp and see what chaos that can cause in due course?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, let's do that. So a wheel with these guys, because they're not very adaptable, is a yellow. So I'm going to have to spend a yellow for you to do that. I can't get it on camera somewhere anyway. So I'll put a yellow there. Yeah, there we go. So I've spent a yellow to do that, and they're actually here, but the terrain's just stopping me doing it. I'll push them back. I'll give you a little bit of extra next time. They're actually about there, just for the video show. So that's done. So now we're back to your Romans over here. So you wanted to press these forward, if I heard you rightly, with say a white to go directly ahead, so that those are going to interrupt one of the charges and protect the poor ones for a bit. Yeah.
Should we do that? Should we do that as a group? Should we take the whole the two?
You actually, Philip, that's an interesting one. You actually can't because of the discs. Because the only way you're going to be able to advance that one is by upgrading there, which means you haven't got a colour left for a group, for a block move. Yeah, so you're going to have to do them individually and live with that. So, there, you see? Back to the goals. Anything further to do with these, or are you happy with those two? I mean, another option would be to throw a solduri over here, but you don't want to get caught on the coming through the river with the guys on the riverbank, and your guys do tend to charge people if they get close. So I'm happy on
that side.
Yeah, saving discs with these guys is quite handy actually, because saving a red is particularly useful. So saving those would be useful. Your only other one that's useful possibly to do that I can see is do something with those slingers so they can shoot at something. So you might want to take them out full disc.